Thank you, Jorge. I'm going to tell you a little story initially, but back in the campfire days, there was no timer going. So you had more like, okay, let's just reflect a little bit, take some time and pause, collect our thoughts and share them. Well, this is speech number three in a row. I've done in 3 weeks in a row, 3 speeches in a row. Part 1, part 2, part 3. This is part 3. This is part of the visionary communication goal pathway, and the idea is to have a vision, to have something, a great vision that you want to communicate. And I've been in this pathway for years, but haven't made much progress, partly because I wasn't ready to develop and communicate my vision. But now I'm ready, or almost ready. In fact, you can help me to be even more ready by giving me feedback at some point, perhaps afterwards or by email, whatever you wish. But as some of you who have heard my previous speeches, part 1 was focused on storytelling. I gave you the backstory. Why am I interested in writing a book, which was my main project? It's called Understanding God, and the subtitle is From Eden, that is the Garden of Eden, all the way to the Great Commission. So the story of how I became interested in that is a long one. It was like over 10 minutes, so I can't really recap it in detail today. I only got 5 to 7 minutes. And then the second speech was to tell you a little bit about what was in the book. But with 93 pages now, I added another page this last week. I can't do that in 10 minutes either. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT to prepare some slides that corresponded to the different sections of the book. And so this slide that I have up here right now is one of the slides. Okay, can you go up one, maybe?
It's not doing anything.
Okay, so little technical difficulty. Can you go down one? Okay, let's see.
Neither up or down.
All right.
Next.
To be a good Toastmaster, you have to be prepared for any eventuality, including the disaster that you can't show your slides. But take it from me that the first slide that you might have gotten a glimpse of when I first came up was one out of a set of perhaps 10 that went through the whole thing. And in that slide, there was a pedestal with a crown on it. And there was a hand reaching for the crown, and there was 2 paths, one to the dark side and one to the light side. Is it coming up now?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, can you go up to the top, to the first slide?
The first one?
First slide, all the way up.
Okay.
That's the first slide? Okay. So when I wrote the book with ChatGPT, it said, okay, if this book is your baby, then these slides are your baby pictures. And so then I said, okay, today I'm going to be talking about the communication plan, because as one of our former members who's passed away, rest his soul, Ken Stark, used to like to say, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. So this is about the communication plan. And it really has to do with a sequence, just like the book goes from the beginning, an introduction, all the way to the conclusion, step by step. The communication plan also needs a progression. Next slide, please. My plan is to publish it on LinkedIn. I have thousands of LinkedIn followers because I have a business where I got all those followers. In fact, I've got 24,000 or more LinkedIn followers. So if I put an article, if I post something with a provocative title, I'm sure I'll get at least a few dozen readers that'll click on it. and see what the article's about. In fact, if I'm lucky, I might even get a few hundred, but all depends. And then if I get viral, hey, you never know where it could go. So I'm gonna start with that, and now if we go to the next slide, please. After that, I will be able to see when I post on LinkedIn how many people have clicked. If hardly anybody clicks, I could try it again with a new provocative approach. So that'll be playing it by ear. But just like the slide says here, there's going to be questions. There could be some confusion on the part of some people. There could be resistance of various types. They might say, hey, this can't be true, what you're saying. If it was true, I would have heard about it long ago. Something new? Can't be new, can't be true. But this last week I mentioned I added another page. It's references to not only a Jewish source, but also to a Roman Catholic source and to a Protestant source that are consistent with my basic premise about the sequence from the Garden of Eden. And then I took it further. I said, okay, if that's true, then this must be true, then this must be true, then this must be true. So that is the reason that we're looking for any kind of clue, whether good or bad. Because the person, when I gave it my article to, I told him it was good. And then he said, oh, what religion are you? I said, oh, I'm non-denominational. He said, it kind of looked like a concern, like, I don't know if I want to look at this. And I asked him what church he went to. And he said, oh, Catholic church. And so I thought, okay, when I went home, I said, the Catholics might be afraid of what I might say, especially about original sin. But here's an article by a bishop in the Catholic Church, Bishop Robert Barron, quite popular, and he came to the same conclusion as me. So I've added that to my bibliography. So next slide, please. And then, based on the feedback that I get from there, we have to come up with a plan for the next step. Well, I've been working on my pastor for years. Jim can attest to that. Jim knows because I've been keeping Jim updated, also some other people, Ignacio up too. But Jim knows that I've been beating this drum for years. And my pastors, I've given it to like about a dozen different pastors. And the only feedback I got was, well written. Well written. So I'm hoping to get a little more traction. And is there one more slide, please? Communication is important. It's wonderful that Toastmasters gives us a chance to stretch, to go beyond the club and to go further out into the internet. And who knows where it could go. Mr. Toastmaster.